All right, good day to everyone. Today we are going to be looking at hip roof and how to construct this using the viewing commands in AutoCAD. All right, a hip roof has four sides in which the water run off, and we're going to be using this drawing here, showing you the layout of a flow plan. All right, now we are going to get started by first offsetting 150 millimeters from the walls. All right, this is going to give us our fascia bone. And I'll just get my rafter, go into rafter for my layers. So I'm going to chamfer the sides. Also, I'm going to change this into fascia bone. This is my wall, my layer that says wall. Right, so I'm going to go into my layers. And I'm going to click fascia. And a quick line. A quick line. I'm going to click match properties. And I'll click back on my line. And I'm going to change this into fascia. I'm going to go back into my layers and I'm going to click rafter. Right. I'm going to click right at the corner of my fascia where the fascia meets. And then we'll proceed to go into track settings, sorry. And I'm going to select 45. Click OK. This is my 45 degrees angle. And this is my 45 degrees angle. This is my 45 degrees angle here. And this is my 45 degrees angle for my corner of my fascia board. All four corners. And then we'll click chamfer. I'll click the two lines so they can meet up. I'll repeat the same process on the other side. So I have my two sides. I'll then draw my line. This is going to give me my ridge. This is the highest point of my roof. So here you can see, right, that my roof has four sloping sides. You see that triangular look here? You have a trapezium look here, shape, right? And this is going to give me my four sides of my roof. Now I want to draw my rafters. I'm going to proceed to draw my rafters. Right, and rafter has a certain thickness. Usually it's 2 inches. Right, and for this drawing, we are going to use 60 millimeters for our thickness. So I'm going to offset 30 millimeters on both sides. 1, 2. 30 this way, 30 the next way. And I'll do that until my lines are triple. Right, so I have my rafter thickness. I'm just going to take out my edge by chamfering it. Alright, so I'm repeating the process by right clicking on my mouse and going to chamfer, and I left click on both lines. Good. Now I'm going to start to draw my rafters from the center of my ridge, center of my roof. So I then proceed to draw my line, center. As you can see, my triangular symbol telling me I'm at the midpoint of my roof. I'm going to draw this line straight down to reach my fascia board. I'll extend this line to the other side of my roof. This is the center of my roof. And then now I'm going to offset 30 millimeters on both sides of this rafter to create my rafter thickness. So I have my rafter thickness here. I'm going to trim off these lines. I'm going to remain with my center line. Alright, I'm going to remain with my center line. Now, rafters are spaced every 2 feet, and I'm going to convert 2 feet into metric measurements. 1 foot is equivalent to 300 millimeters. 2 feet is going to be 600 millimeters. And I'm going to also include my rafter thickness, which is, so that's going to give us 600 plus 60 is going to give us 660. So I'm going to offset 660 millimeters, enter. So I click. All right. Set on the other side, all center lines. Now, when we end up with this rafter that is close to the jack rafter that coming from the 45 angle of my roof, for building purposes, we'd want to just put the rafters right where the ridge and the jack rafter meet for reinforcement purposes. So I'll move it here to this point. All right. I'm going to trim off my unwanted lines. Now, as I said to you, that our rafters, they are spaced 600 millimeters apart. So I'm going to include my rafter thickness, which is 660. Offset 660, enter. So I'm going to offset again. Now, when you're drawing roof, you'll want to pick up with some speed and make life a bit easier for you. Therein way we're going to apply the commands that we have in AutoCAD to assist us with some speed. So notice what I'm doing. I leave the center line, and I'm going to do the same thing here. I trim off. I'm going to leave the center line. We'll see why. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this measurement here. Before I do that, I'm going to draw from the center line. I'm going to go straight down to the other side of my roof. And I'm going to offset same 30 millimeters. 30, 30. I'm going to trim it. All right, we're looking at speed here. And then I'm going to copy this line here, my rafter, 3 lines, select it at the intersection here, where all the lines are intersecting from the center, and I'm going to paste it to the other center here. I'm going to trim off my edges. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to select my two rafters that they are meeting at 90 degrees, they're perpendicular to each other. I'm going to select it from the center for the interest of time here, and I'm going to paste it from centers here now. Then I'll just trim off the excess edges that exceeds the fascia board. We are almost done with our roof. And then now once I have those trim edges, I'm going to mirror my rafters on the opposite side of my roof. So I click Command Mirror, which is here. I select all the rafters that I will want to mirror onto the other side of my jack rafter. I make sure my restriction cursor is on. I enter by right clicking on my mouse or my keyboard. I click at the center of the ridge and I come across horizontally. I left click and I enter on my keyboard or my mouse to piece. And here is the other portion of my roof member on the opposite side of my roof have been placed properly. Notice they are meeting nicely. And I'm going to test it to see if it's perpendicular, meaning if it meets 90 degrees. So I click on this command and I'm going to click angular. I'm going to click my center line to see if it's 90 degrees. It's 90 degrees. Escape. Now I will then take my entire roof members on this side and mirror to the opposite side. So again, I click mirror. I select all of my roof members here. Select all of my roof members. And I'm going to mirror now. I'm going back to the center of the jack here, this point. is actually the geometric center of my roof. I click this at center point, at midpoint, and I click vertical. I go vertical. I left click and I enter. And all my roof members are mirrored onto the other side of my roof. So all I can do is just do one side, get one side done correctly, and mirror the other side. I notice there's a space here, so I'm going to draw this, and I'm going to offset 30 millimeters on both sides. Quick offset, type in 30, enter, and I'm going to trim off those edges that exceeds my rafter here. I'm going to mirror this rafter as well to the other side. Come back in the center here, and I mirror. That once. Enter. And this is going to give me the outline of my rafters neatly placed on my roof. Right? Now there's a command line called center, the center line. So I go back into my layers. I go back into match properties, layer properties, and I create one called center line. Center line is here. So I go back. Right, so center line is here. Right, I didn't see it. I click center line. I click outside of my drawing area. Notice the scale is not what I can see. So I'm going to click on to the center line. I'm going to go into quick properties. I'll go into the properties. I'm going to go into scale. Line type scale. I'm going to increase the scale. I'm going to increase the scale to 100. Here, my scale is increased to 100. I'm going to click match properties. Left click on the line and left click on all my center lines. So I'll do that for my entire drawing. All the center line are located. Clicking on my center lines, clicking on them. Right, so I change all my lines into center lines, mostly all. I miss these, so I'm gonna click add properties, change them, enter. Right, so here I have the outline of my roof. There's one more thing I need to do. Now, when you're on the roof, you cannot see the walls. The walls are under the roof. So therefore, the walls must be placed in hidden detail lines. So I'm going to look for my hidden detail layer, hidden line. I click command line. On the other side, this will be a dash line. I click on line. I'll go into properties. I'll increase the scale of it. I'll increase it to 150. I'll make that 200. Enter. So this is my hidden detail line. It's a dash line. I'm going to click on match properties. Left click on match properties. Left click on the line. And I'm going to click on the walls to transfer that line type. So the walls are represented by dash lines, which are hidden detail lines, from looking from the roof direction downwards. I want to thank you for observing and watching. I hope this would have been of some of assistance to you. Feel free to like and to subscribe. Have a wonderful evening.